Hello, 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 everybody. How's everybody doing today? Don't mind me. I've had a really busy morning. I have been working really hard. So I've been actually trying to come up with a domain name for a blog for about 3 years. And this is my idea of blogging started 3 years ago, and I've never gotten around to it, never had the resources, basically never met the right people. And by coincidence, last night, one of our team members actually, who is really great when it comes to doing just that. So he was helping me. So I'm just fixing my hair. There, whatever works. So he was helping me start all that off, and so now I have my blog is ready, but not up and ready yet. Hey Mark, thanks for hopping on. So that is going to be what I'm going to be working on for a little while. And I got these new headpieces. Let's see how these work out today. I didn't really realize when I got these that these were, I think they're kid sizes, so it doesn't really stay on there very well. So I'm just gonna give them to my daughter and stick to my own ears. There, much better. This is more me. This is gonna go for my daughter. So anyways, as you're hopping on, let me know where you're coming in from, and if you're watching me live or replay, and tell me something about yourself. Okay, I'm Yana Kasper, and I did my blog with the name that I told you I was going to do, hence why it's in the hashtags. So that's another story I can tell you. I learned so much today. Oh my god, my brain is just full of that, and that's why I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do my video on. It's going to be something that we have all gone through and lived with, right? Leaders and bosses, and the good and the bad. And as we will be talking about it, you will probably be able to relate as well. I know I can, and I have tons of stories with these, but I'm gonna try to keep it shorter, okay? So again, for those of you that don't know who I am, Yana Kasper. A lot of people can't pronounce my last name. It's pronounced Kasper. Very simple, but you gotta practice because it doesn't always roll off the tongue easy. Thank you, Nadia. I'm very excited too. Excited and nervous. It's a combination of everything. And that's where I also wanted to check with you how you did yours to make sure it was actually done the right way, because apparently anyways, that's another conversation, but apparently there's a way to make sure that it's done properly, that it's more visible as opposed to just going to a certain website and signing up and doing it. Anyways, so as a busy mompreneur, it is my passion, my absolute passion, to help you succeed, whether it is physically, mentally, or financially, right? And like I always say, I love getting to know you guys. So tell me a little secret about yourself, a little something, and something that not how the weather is, something a little more deep, okay? And as always, if you share my stuff and if you tag or whatever, let me know, and I always give a shout out, and I always go back and check my comments and reply to them. If not right away, I'll go to on the next day or in the evening whenever I get time, because some days like today I haven't done anything but the blog, because I spent a lot of time just talking to Jonas, is the one that helped me. So I spent pretty much all morning talking to him, and I literally just got off the Zoom call about 10 minutes ago. We both had to go to the bathroom and start doing our things. So here are the two main traits. I forgot to write down the second one. So the first one is, where's my thing? See, I'm not that prepared. So the first one is basically empathy. And a lot of bosses, a lot of leaders, and this is where you probably agree, are lacking in this department, okay? That's because they simply either don't have the bone or they are in charge, okay? And this is where they're very wrong. They are not in charge. They are responsible for those in their charge, right? So with empathy, a lot of people a lot of bosses, a lot of leaders are not taught how to lead. They don't understand the concept. They do understand the statement, but not really the concept of you can attract a lot more flies or bees with honey than you can with vinegar or with, the poop emoji. There's sometimes kids listening, so that's why I try to use mommy words, at least on here, maybe not at home so much. But that is something that has to be taught, and not everyone is born with empathy. A lot of people, when they become leaders, when they become bosses, it's almost like they get power hungry, and they think that they own you, and you do what I say or you're gonna get the boot, right? I have had bosses where those that had no empathy, and eventually they kind of learned what it was, but by that time I wasn't working with them anymore. And then I had bosses who had empathy and could not work with that individual that did not have empathy. So it became a struggle in between the actual bosses, right? The manager and assistant manager, they were clashing because one had no empathy, the other one did. And I will tell you from my personal experiences and from everyone that I have worked with in the corporate world, you will be able to succeed and get more and have more productive employees when you lead with empathy. Now, what does that basically entail? Okay, let's give you a scenario. Let's say an employee who is always great, and all of a sudden their performance is going down and they're not doing so great. So a person who is not empathetic, what are they going to do? They're going to say, your performance is going down, this is unacceptable, you have to fix it, or otherwise we're going to have to replace you because I don't have time for this, right? That is how you lose employees. And you are leading basically with fear, right? That's exactly what it is. You are putting fear into this individual who is now going to be petrified to lose their job. They're not going to be very productive because they're too stressed, and you cannot perform well when you're stressed. Now, a person that has empathy, they will sit down and they understand that the person that is sitting in front of them is an actual human being that has a life, that has a family, that has feelings, that has emotions. So what are they going to do? They are going to ask, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Is everything okay at home? Is there anything I can help you with? Is there anything I can do for you? You see where I'm going? Like, I'm starting to get goosebumps because this reminds me of the time when when I lost my twins, okay? Now, you're already, as a pregnant woman, in a fragile state. They didn't know I was carrying twins. They just knew I was pregnant. That they only knew about 2 weeks before I lost them that I was carrying twins. Now, the unempathetic was basically exactly that. You're not doing this, you're not doing that, let me see you work, let me look through this, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Basically barking at me, where I'm already in the panic mode. Whereas the other one, are you okay? Can I help you? Trying to understand me. And by all every human being wants is to be understood, is to be accepted, appreciated, supported, helped. What else have I written down on here? Listen to, right? We all want to be heard. We all want to say what's on our mind or in our hearts. And if you want your business to succeed, and that goes for any business you have, whether it is online, whether it is in a store or in a big building, wherever it is, you are going to have a much better team, and you will see a lot more growth when you actually use honey as a trap. Because a lot less people, mind you, there's always going to be evil people or people that themselves don't have empathy, so don't really care. I've been there and done that because I am a very, very empathetic person. That's one of my, as some people would say, it's one of my flaws. But if you really think of all the flaws that you have, we all have them. They're actually strength strengths for the most part. Okay. So if you, then the next point, at the end of the day, where you are working, it is not the company usually, right? For example, let's say you're working at a food chain store or a hotel chain. At the end of the day, you choose to work for your boss, not the company, right? For your, with your leader, or not with the actual company, right? Because you can always change companies, because at the end of the day, you're going to go and work for someone who understands you, who's going to help you, who is there for you. Because again, no matter how long you've been at a job, there's always going to be something new, something that comes up. You still have your own life to live, right? You still have your own things that happen. And a lot of people, when they go through a loss, whether it's a family member or even a pet, a lot of people actually don't talk about it. They just change. You know what I mean? I'm one of those people that I will talk about it and I will share. Why? Because it helps me heal and get better. Whereas a lot of people are not like that. A lot of people keep it in. Hence why their productivity will go down. Hence why they won't feel so great and the whole world changes, right? So having an empathetic boss will change everything, right? Exactly. See, and loyalty is given to those who are compassionate and understanding. You are not going to be loyal to a dog that's constantly barking at you. You're going to be scared of that dog, especially if the dog has bitten you, right? I like animals, so I use animal analogies, and a lot of us can relate, because if you have a dog and you have been bitten by that dog, you will always remember that bite. Maybe not exactly how it felt, like the actual puncturing of the wounds and everything, but you remember the experience. So what happens with a dog that is always nice and always sweet and always there for you, always wagging its tail, you love that dog, you appreciate it, and you're not gonna kick that dog. Why? Because you yourself will learn to have a little bit of empathy even if you don't, right? Exactly. And you will resent them for that bite. You will always remember that. It will always be in the back of your mind. So empathy is huge. And then the other one is basically, I believe it was, it's a P word. When you are supporting them, I can't remember the actual word, but in a way it basically goes hand in hand. And without empathy, there is really, I think that's honestly one of the biggest traits that any human being can possess. And it's not something that can actually be taught. It's something that you can, I guess in a way it could be, if you are open to the emotions, to the experiences, and to listening and trying to understand different views, different stories, and how one interprets themselves in a way, right? It's a little bit of a complicated logical explanation. So the other thing is the difference between someone who is empathetic and someone who is not, as a boss, as a leader. So a great example is the one that is not empathetic will micromanage you and give you shit for everything, right? So again, dog analogy or animal analogy, they will be barking at you constantly because they have their own insecurities too, if you really think about it, right? Like if you, at the end of the day, we are still animals, and whether we're talking about dogs or humans, in a way we can still kind of relate. So if you think of a dog that is constantly barking, right, and a dog that bites, is usually an insecure dog. And I think that could also be used for a leader, because if they are insecure, and especially if they see your strengths, your weaknesses, as they would be saying it to you, they would see your weaknesses and point out your weaknesses to you, even though they are strengths, and they want that as well. So with one of my bosses who was not empathetic, and I always was, and the other boss was, so we ended up getting shit very often because in a way that it's a little different, but I guess because we had what that person wanted, we ended up being the target in a way, right? So I think that was pretty much all I wanted to mention. And um okay, if someone is under pressure, they're not going to perform as well as when they are positive and helpful and have the support. So let's say also, as an example, not exactly with the boss, but for example, you're going to do a test, okay, and your parents, who are in a way your boss and your leader, right? Or let's say we're talking about a boss. Let's say you are going to do an audit, okay, and you're going to be questioning everything. If right before that audit, before you go in, the boss says, oh, make sure you say this, I hope you studied and I hope you know your stuff. So basically, like, coming off like you better know your stuff or else. Or there's another one where it says, I know you can do this. You know the stuff inside and out. You are awesome. You are great. You are the best one we have. And that's why we want you to do this audit. And I have absolutely no worries and concerns about you. Now, which one is going to go and perform and do that audit better? The one that is petrified before they go in, because what happens is they start to shut down, right? Or the one that has been lifted up and feels like they're on top of the world, where their mind is a lot more open and they're at a better response state, right? So that goes the same for a leader. That is also empathy. Someone who has no empathy will basically bring you down, and someone who is full of empathy or has even a little bit, they will try to lift you up instead. Okay, so that is all I had for today. And I like to do a little summary at the end. So today, basically, we talked about empathy, right? The other one is, I think it was productivity, or the other word, I forgot. See, I wasn't fully prepared because all I was listening to is the empathy part, and which is huge, because that is how you are going to be successful in anything that you do. Exactly. See, encouragement over ultimatums, because nobody does very well with ultimatums, but with encouragement, we feel powerful, like a Wonder Woman, Superwoman, Batman, whoever you relate to as a superhero. We all become superheroes, right? It's almost like we're given the power, we're given the strength by those encouraging words. That goes the same for your children. If your children are not doing well in classes or in school, don't tell them, oh, you're not smart, you're dumb, you don't know anything, you should know better. Lift them up. Tell them, you are so smart, you are, you know this, you know, for example, my daughter with math, she always says, oh, I don't know, I can't do this, I can't do this. Yes, you can. You have done this so many times, you are so smart. Even your Kumon teacher says how great you are. Your teacher compliments you every time I talk to her. So these words make them feel like, I can do this. And even though they might not be able to, by you putting that belief in them, they feel it themselves. And the use of a word can't will slowly start to go down, diminish, or completely be eliminated out of their vocabulary. Because that is my goal. I don't want them using that word, I can't. And Nadia was the one that pointed out to me, said, you need to stop doing things yourself and then your kids will follow. So I need to stop doing that to myself. I need to stop using those words myself and they will follow, right? Leader, and they're the followers. Okay, so that's basically what we talked about. And what I would like you to do is think back to your life experiences. And think back of who in your life as a boss or as a leader was an empathetic person and who was not. And honestly, the biggest thing you can do for yourself, especially if you are living with anger or resentment towards these people. And I had, and I'm going to be honest with some of them, I still am angry for the things that have been done to me when I did not deserve it, because like I said, I'm a very empathetic person and I was there helping someone where in the end I got thrown under the bus and I got shot on. So there are people that it takes time to forgive, but if you're able to forgive and not just forgive, you're always going to remember these experiences. You're always going to live with them. They're always going to be in the back of your mind, always in your subconscious mind, right? But if you're able to talk to them and tell them that you forgive them, that is very powerful. And that is when you can learn and you can actually start to live a more free life. It truly is. It's very powerful because it is one of the hardest things that you can ever do, is forgive those that have done you wrong. Even if it's something bad, it takes time. Like I said, for some people, it might take time, but eventually that is what your goal should be. So if you are able to reach out to those people that have done you wrong and just have a conversation and tell them, like, I know what has happened or how I was treated by you. I would just like to say, I forgive you. Right? That's that. And usually people will respond. That's not something that can be ignored. And for all you know, those people have been living with guilt of doing that to you their whole life, or ever since that has happened. So you will not only be releasing yourself, you might be releasing them. So if you are like me, full of empathy, you might want to, if you can't do it for yourself, maybe do it for them, right? But in the end, you are going to feel more free. You will be able to breathe better, especially knowing that that is one of the hardest things to do. Again, thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you and all your comments and all the engagement. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Especially you, Mark. You're going nuts in there. I love it. And if you have any questions, if you have any comments, shoot me a message or drop them below. Like I said, I always check my my comments and I always respond. If not right away, I always find time. And that was basically all I had today. So again, thank you for watching, and I will see. I'm not sure if I'll be going live tomorrow because I have a friend coming over and we're gonna be busy. So if anything, maybe I'll do on the weekend or something. But I will talk to you either tomorrow or Monday or on the weekend. We'll see. Okay? Keep your eyes open. Bye. Have a great day.